Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Roland. Today I want to talk about some very important things. Let's talk about meditation. First of all, people ask, what's special about your meditation? Well, what's special about it is that it's not misleading, doesn't lead you down the wrong path, and doesn't do more harm than it does good. See, most meditations are just more of the same. See, what happens now in the average person's current condition is they get upset too easily. They get upset all the time about big things and about little things. People don't realize just how reactive they are, just like an animal. But humans are supposed to be inner directed. We're supposed to be directed by reason, principle. See, what you know is right in your heart, wisdom, intuition. See? Then you would be your own person. You would make the right moves. You would make the wrong moves. You would move gracefully, intuitively, and you wouldn't have any conflict. Now, animals don't have any conflict. You don't see dogs becoming alcoholics or drinking alcohol. You don't see cats smoking marijuana. You don't see, elephants popping pills. They don't have any conflict. Why? Because it's natural for an animal to react to the environment. But when we humans react, we're not living in the human way. We're living in an animal way. And that's why we have conflict. And that's why we don't become our true self. That's why you don't become the Einstein, the Madame Curie, the Isaac Newton. The George Washington or the Ruth, the Susan B. Anthony that you could be. Instead, you do all the wrong. So here's what happens. This is very important. I'm laying some groundwork. So you react, and then you're not living a life led by reason, wisdom, intuition, and common sense. You're leading a life based upon emotional reaction, and then out of those emotions comes thinking, and that thinking takes the form of planning, scheming, worrying. See? And then you make another move based upon that thinking, which is an extension of the initial reaction. You see what I mean? You feel, then you think, then you act, and it's an emotional type of movement too. Then when you act, it's based on emotions: anger, fear, resentment, greed, excitement. Did you do the wrong thing? Now we know that negative emotions are not good. We know that anger and fear are not good. But an emotion like excitement. You see people at a ball game, they get all excited, and then what do? They eat too much, drink too much, do the wrong thing, maybe stumble down the stairs. See, it's not good. People are out driving and they're upset about something. They had a fight with their partner, and they're out driving, and then what happens? Sometimes, hope it doesn't happen. Sometimes they make a mistake. They go right through a red light, or they make some other mistake, end up getting a speeding ticket or something because they were upset. You see what I mean? So that's not good. So it's the wrong energy to move. And then later the motivation becomes wrong too. The motivation becomes what? Saving face. Trying to hide the mistakes that we made. Trying to recoup the losses that we had, the loss that you had because of your mistake. See? So that's a wrong motivation. Or the motivation is simply egotistical, like to get even, see, to climb on top of, to get ahead of another guy, to get to the line first. See? Or the motivation becomes to avoid or what will make you upset, what you know is going to make you upset again. So if your wife always makes you upset, your husband always makes you upset, the boss makes you upset, traffic makes you upset, then you start trying to avoid becoming upset. So you start to alter your life to avoid, see, and then you end up walking around on eggshells and placating everyone. So you try to placate them so they won't upset you. See, but then what happens is you give them so much power that then they take advantage and then you become upset. See? Or then when you're so upset you become nervous, tense, see, by becoming upset all the time, by being excited all the time, by moving with angry energy or fearful energy. Then what happens is you start to become nervous and tense. You start to second guess yourself, make more mistakes, and then nervous and tense, then finally, what you're trying to do is to manage the symptoms, or symptom removal. So you drink, you smoke, you take pills. See, so that's what I have described. But remember, along the way, all along the way, there was thinking, emotion, reaction, emotion, and then thinking, which is worries, doubts, fears, reliving the past, rehearsing the future. Planning and scheming, see? Which is fueled by the emotions. So now we talk about the average meditation is trying to manage the symptoms. In other words, instead of being upset, try to calm down, which is good to calm down, but what I'm saying is it's symptom removal or managing symptoms. And then it's trying to replace negative thoughts with a thought of looking at a lake or imagining a beautiful scene, see, something like that. Or instead of being fixated upon what's upsetting you, see, instead of thinking over and over about the wife who's upsetting you, the husband that's upsetting you, the kids that are upsetting you, work that's upsetting you, bills that are upsetting you, it teaches you to become to fixate on something else, on a symbol, see, or chant. Or something, or on your breathing. Fixate on your breathing. See, so you focus on that. So you to temporarily push aside or push under the rug the negative thoughts, but then they always come back. See. So it's symptom management. It's placebo. It's palliative care. Now, admittedly, it's better to calm down than to be super upset. Of course it's better. But there has to be a better way. Something has to be something even better. And what's better is to find a whole new way of relating to people, places, and things. So you're not reacting to them. Instead, you respond to them properly by, let me put it another way. Yes, you respond to them properly by first relating to and responding to the inner light, to becoming centered, and to develop a rapport with the inner light from God. See, to develop rapport with your intuition, which is from God. What you know in your heart, which is from God. Your conscience, which is from God. See? It's very spiritual. See? But it's also very practical. So then you relate to the inner good, and then in the light, and then you walk in the light. In the Bible it talks about walking in the light. See? There is an inner light. Okay? And so learning to relate to it. Then you go out in the world. So you do that first. See, what most people do is they go out in the world and then they become upset and then they try to calm down. It's better to meditate and relate to the inner good first, and then you go out in the world and don't become upset, because you're relating to the inner. So now you go out with a proper inner relatedness, a relatedness to the inner light. And now when something happens on the outside, you observe it. See, with a slight distance, because now you're more related to the inner good from God. So you observe what happened on the outside, and you respond with what? With patience, with non-response. See, you're not hiding from it. You observe it. There it is on the outside, something that before would have upset you. Now you see it, but you don't react. Instead, you observe, and you remain patient. You remain calm. Your emotions remain idling. Okay? And now, if something needs to be done or said, it comes to you from within. See? Instead of going out and getting upset about something and getting excited or all emotional and then thinking up something in your animal brain and then saying or doing something that popped into your brain which is wrong, and then it makes the situation worse. Instead, now you calmly observe. Sometimes nothing needs to be done. You just observe. Other times, if something needs to be said, something to say or to do, then you do it, and it flows from within. And it's the right move. It's the common sense move. It's the wise move. You see how simple that is? So you really ought to listen to this or watch this video over and over until you get it. Humans have an inner way of have intuition from God. God gives animals instinct. Okay? The humans have something much better. It's called intuition. By instinct, the beaver knows how to build a dam and the robin knows how to build a nest. From intuition. See? If you live according to your intuition, always do each moment, each step, do what's right. See? You move intuitively. And then you build a life. See? You build a wonderful human life. Of character, of courage, of kindness, patience, wisdom. No, you won't do it in a day. It might take a lifetime to become perfected. To become perfected in wisdom, perfected in patience, perfected in understanding. You'll develop great skill, and you'll know the right move. And people will respect you because you'll be your own person. And your family will love you. And it'll be beautiful. Okay? All with the help of this little meditation. So your whole life you've been reacting to the outside, and people have taught you wrongly too. They've taught you to look for answers on the outside. To study and study, but study is hypnotic. Study first of all, it feeds pride. See? Which causes conflict. It makes you lopsided. See? It clutters your mind. You don't feel you're not free. See? And you're looking in the wrong place on the outside from other people who themselves are misguided, who themselves haven't found a rapport with their intuition. So better to have a rapport with your intuition. And then, see, what happens is, like, I can read. See? Read a lot of books. But I don't read them in a concentrated, focused sort of a way. I scan them. I scan books and I look for clues. And something will stand out. Maybe. Something is highlighted all of a sudden. Well, that's something that intuitively I sense is good for me. And then somehow when I talk, or when I write my books, the little tidbits of knowledge that I have gleaned from the world, well, they're somehow collated in the light. See? And the words flow forth in the light. So it's all very beautiful and very simple. See, I'm speaking to you now from that wonderful space. I don't put together what I'm going to say. When I put the microphone on today, I had no idea what I was going to say. And then it came out pretty good. Okay? Like a primer. How do you say it, a primer? A brief introduction to proper meditation. Could turn your life around. But see, what's required, though, is you have to be willing to admit the truth. See, some people don't admit they're wrong. They refuse to admit they're wrong. They would never admit they're sorry, or if they did, it's phony. See, they don't really mean it. But so they are in, you could say they're in denial because they just don't want to admit they're wrong. They're too prideful or too stubborn. But some people will admit they're wrong. See? In other words, if you're walking down the street and someone says, "Hey, your shoelace is untied," well, it's a little embarrassing to see that your shoelace is untied, but you say thank you because you're glad that now you know your shoelace was untied, so now you won't trip on your shoelace. You have to have that kind of an attitude, or you must have the attitude of a good math student, for example. Math student, if he's working on a problem or she's working on a problem and she can't solve it, then the professor says, "Well, this is wrong here. You made a mistake here. The reason you can't solve it is you made a mistake right there." And then the student says, "Oh, I see my mistake." Okay? The student is glad to see the mistake because now they can solve the problem. See? So you have to have the same attitude. Be glad to see your mistakes. Be glad to see your wrongs. See them in the light. See, in the past you used to see them egotistically, subjectively, and then struggled with them or pushed them under the rug, or you tried to make yourself better, which didn't work. Now, by meditating, you have the light, and now you see old mistakes in the light of new understanding. Old mistakes in the light of new understanding. Now you'll have the light. See, the light shines on it. You see your error. Okay, maybe you've experienced a little embarrassment or even a little pain. You know, when you see a big error, like when you hated your parent or something like that. So you see that, and it's a little pain. It's painful. Okay, but you see it. You bear the brief pain, and you regret what you see about yourself. You regret the mistake. See. But you realize you can't change yourself. But you're glad to see. You're glad to see it to come clean. You're glad to come clean in the light. Well, lo and behold, see. Then, so it's a sad glad. You're sad to see you're wrong, but you're glad to see. So you come clean, and then you make a wonderful discovery in the light. You realize that God has forgiven you. Okay. And now the past is the past. You don't have to keep dredging it up anymore. You don't have to keep doing mea culpas and trying to drum up crocodile tears and everything. You see that you were wrong. You admitted it. You're sorry, and now it's over. Now you move on. See, in the beginning there'll be a lot of such things to see. So there'll be quite a time of seeing those things. But as the days go by and the weeks go by, less and less and less. And then eventually there's very little to see. Just very delicate, minor things. Okay? But, see, then you have a beautiful, blessed present. You're free of the baggage from the past, and now you have a blessed present in which to discover things. So you'll begin to discover beautiful, shining truths. See? Things that you had seen in the Bible before, or spiritual things that you heard. And now there'll be beautiful, shining truths to see. You know, you'll be listening to a program on the radio, and all of a sudden you'll hear something, and you'll realize something. You'll see a principle. Or you'll hear a preacher talking, and you'll say something from the Bible verse, and you'll understand it. Oh, I see, you'll say to yourself. And he doesn't even understand what he's saying, but you do. See? He doesn't really understand, but you see it. All these beautiful truths you'll begin to see and discover. So it'll be a wonderful journey of discovery. Okay? My name is Roland.